WWE have been prone to send wrestlers back to development for more seasoning, and over the years, no wrestler, no matter their status in the company, has been exempt. It was previously the norm to send back wrestlers to OVW or FCW, but now if a wrestler needs more training, they'll usually be sent to the WWE Performance Center. Now it's worth noting that this list applies to wrestlers who were sent to WWE developmental systems after a run on the main roster, so wrestlers like Seth Rollins and Finn Balor don't apply, as they exclusively made their NXT TV appearances and weren't subject to more training at the WWE PC. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 wrestlers so bad they were sent back to developmental. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new channel, Wrestlelamia Shorts. Number 10. Matt Morgan. Matt Morgan had the size and presence to make it big in WWE, but the issue was that when Morgan debuted on television in 2003, fans wanted more than wrestlers who were on the card just because of their size. Fans in the Ruthless Aggression era wanted compelling storylines combined with outstanding wrestling, and unfortunately, Morgan wasn't quite there yet. His run on the main roster was brief, and he only made a few appearances between 2003 to 2004 before he was sent back to OVW for more training. Morgan eventually was called up back to the main roster in 2005, but this run fell flat rather quickly. Thankfully for Morgan, he would eventually find himself in TNA and he would have moderate success in the company. At one stage, he was even an established main eventer in the company, and he was having notable pay-per-view matches with legends such as Kurt Angle and Jeff Hardy. Number 9. Mason Ryan. Upon his debut on the main roster, Mason Ryan was instantly compared to Batista. He looked oddly similar to the former WWE champion, but that's where the comparisons stopped, and fans quickly realized that Ryan was nothing like the animal. Ryan was given a huge platform for his debut, and it was paired with CM Punk as part of the new Nexus, but months of working with Punk did little to improve his in-ring work. Naturally, WWE decided to send Ryan back to FCW, as it was clear from watching his matches that he wasn't remotely ready for the big time, and putting him in huge matches was a big mistake. Ryan appeared on the NXT brand for the next couple of years, but he made little improvement, and this eventually led to WWE releasing Ryan in April of 2014. Number 8. Mordecai. When WWE debuted Mordecai in 2004, they had high hopes. Vince McMahon wanted Mordecai to be a stark contrast to The Undertaker, and this was going to lead to a featured match between the two at WrestleMania 21. Sadly, Mordecai failed to get over, and his in-ring work wasn't at the level WWE wanted. There were two reasons why they pulled the character off television and ultimately sent Mordecai back to developmental. First, WWE officials believed that Mordecai needed more training, and the second reason was that he was involved in a bar fight and a subsequent lawsuit, so they made the call to remove him from WWE programming. Mordecai eventually returned in 2006 with a vampire-esque Kevin Thorne character, and whilst this character was more successful, it was a short-lived gimmick that struggled to fully connect with the audience. Eventually, WWE once again sent him back to developmental for the final time, and he would eventually depart from the company in 2009. Number 7. Eva Marie. It's well documented just how lackluster Eva Marie's in-ring work was, but WWE did attempt to do something about it. Eva would work sporadically at the WWE PC, but it was in 2015 when she cemented herself as a permanent fixture at the state-of-the-art facility. A subsequent run in NXT would follow, and this allowed Eva to get somewhat better, but she still was struggling to find her groove as an in-ring competitor. She has stated that she was thrown into the main roster in 2013 with just 2 weeks of training, which is completely irresponsible for WWE, and there's no wonder that Eva notoriously struggled to learn the fundamentals. Number 6. Chronic. Sometimes a wrestler has a match that is so bad that WWE has no choice but to send them back to developmental. This was the case in 2001 when the tag team known as Chronic were given a huge match on pay-per-view against The Undertaker and Kane. The match ended up being one of the worst pay-per-view matches in history, and all the blame fell on Brian Adams and Brian Clark. Clark was asked to go to developmental, but he instantly rejected the request and was released from his contract. In relation to Adams, he began working for Heartland Wrestling Association, which served as WWE's developmental territory for conditioning. Legendary announcer Jim Ross, who was head of talent relations in 2001, discussed why Vince McMahon wanted to send the duo to developmental on his podcast, and this is what he had to say.
Well, I think Vince saw their matches and saw the same thing you did. Same thing I did. They just weren't they, as a team, they weren't at that level. Now, if they had gone down and they could work 3 or 4 days a week as a team, and they really concentrated on getting better as a unit, so they could come back and have matches with 2 7-foot baby faces, Undertaker and Kane, then so be it. And even Undertaker's influence was not going to be able to save them. The performance wasn't there. And to be honest,
Number 5, the Spirit Squad. The infamous gimmick given to the Spirit Squad was eventually going to run its course, and when it did, they decided to send each member of the group back to OVW. The group deserved a ton of credit as they delivered the male cheerleading gimmick as well as humanly possible, and their matches were often highly entertaining. Interestingly, shortly after the group was sent back to OVW, Kenny emerged back on WWE TV with the new name of Kenny Dykstra, and he was given a substantial push and even had feature matches with Ric Flair, and even won it. Whilst most of the other members of the group didn't achieve anything notable following the Spirit Squad run, the exception was Nikki, who would eventually become Dolph Ziggler on the main roster. Ziggler would work endlessly to reach to the top of the card, and he would end up winning the world title on 2 separate occasions. Number 4, Otis. Just a few short months after winning the Money in the Bank briefcase in 2020, Otis was sent to the WWE Performance Center for more training. While some wrestlers may be irated by this, especially after winning such a prestigious matchup, Otis embraced WWE's request, and this is what the former tag team champion had to say during his interview with Ryan Satin. "That performance center is a tool for us to get better. If another big man wants to come up to me and wants to work on stuff or vice versa, we're always working. So that report was kind of funny at the same time. We're never not working, especially now that we don't have live events, so we can't really get our stuff out. It's just bottled inside a little bottle. Right now it's like we're not getting that stuff out there, so we'll find more and more ways to get into the ring with each other." Number 3, Bray Wyatt. WWE fans were first introduced to Bray Wyatt in 2010 when Wyatt was using the name Husky Harris in the initial version of NXT. Harris would then become a member of the Nexus faction, but Harris lacked any sort of gimmick or identity, and he was ultimately sent back to FCW. This would be a move that resulted in Harris finding the beloved Bray Wyatt character, and this character would make him a main eventer in WWE in years to come. Wyatt would spend a few crucial years in developmental before he was called up to the main roster in 2013 alongside Luke Harper and Eric Rowan as the Wyatt family. Number 2, Mark Henry. Long before Mark Henry was world champion in 2011, he was struggling to have a breakout moment in WWE, and they believe that this was mostly due to his poor in-ring work. Henry was first sent back to developmental in 2000, and he would remain there for 2 years before he returned to the SmackDown brand with a brand new gimmick. This gimmick would involve Henry performing tests of strengths, but it fell flat, and within a few months, he was sent back to OVW yet again. Henry returned in 2003, this time as part of the Thuggin' and Buggin' enterprises, but in 2004, Henry returned to developmental for the final time. The next time he appeared on the main roster was in late 2005, and by this time, Henry was slowly putting it all together in the ring. He would have notable feuds with the likes of Batista and The Undertaker, and in 2008 he became ECW champion. Henry could have easily given up, but he was resilient, and his career came full circle when he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2018. And number 1, The Big Show. A Big Show achieved several unbelievable accomplishments during his first year and a half in WWE. He'd win the title at the 1999 Survivor Series, and he would main event WrestleMania 16. However, in the summer of 2000, they made the drastic call to send the Big Show to OVW to lose weight and develop his cardiovascular ability. The multi-time WWE champion would reflect on being sent to OVW during an appearance on the Broken Skull sessions, and this is what he had to say. "It was really good for me because I got to reprogram myself a little bit and get out of a lot of bad habits that I had. But I met some good guys. Batista, Cena, Brock Lesnar. Do you know what I mean? I met a lot of good guys in OVW, and eventually guys that I knew wasn't the piece of trash that I was depicted as because I had a lot of heat. I'm setting the ring up. I've never set the ring up before. I did so I got my education that mostly everyone gets in the business before they even get in. Mine happened after I already tested a little bit of success. And that was a hard pill to swallow. A pill that at the time I think I needed to swallow. Well, there you have it, folks. 10 WWE wrestlers so bad they were sent back to developmental. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.